Imagine a small town in Illinois where kids played freely on the streets and neighbors knew each other by name. This was Sycamore, a quaint town that would soon become the backdrop of one of the most tragic mysteries in American history. It was December 3rd, 1957, when 7-year-old Maria Ridulph and her friend Kathy were playing outside, enjoying a snowy evening. Out of nowhere, a young man who introduced himself as Johnny approached the two little girls. He offered Maria a piggyback ride, and while Kathy went inside to grab a pair of gloves, Maria and Johnny disappeared. Kathy returned moments later, but Maria was gone, vanished into the cold night. It would be the last time anyone would see Maria alive. The disappearance sent shockwaves through the community. A massive search began, and soon the case attracted national attention. Even President Dwight D. Eisenhower and FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover were informed. The FBI quickly got involved, investigating various suspects in the area, but there were no solid leads. The mystery of Maria's disappearance persisted, and the small town of Sycamore was left in fear and grief. 5 months later, on April 26, 1958, a farmer and his wife discovered Maria's skeletal remains under a fallen tree in a wooded area near Woodbine, Illinois, about 90 miles from her home. Her clothes, other than her shirt, undershirt, and socks, were missing, and no cause of death could be determined due to the state of decomposition. Despite the extensive FBI investigation and public pleas from Maria's family, the case went cold. Fast forward to 1994, when an unexpected twist occurred. On her deathbed, Eileen Tessier made a shocking confession to her daughter, Janet. John did it. John Tessier, later known as Jack McCullough, was a former neighbor of the Ridulph family who had been briefly investigated in the initial days of Maria's disappearance, but had provided an alibi. Janet tried to take her mother's confession to the authorities, but it wasn't until a decade later, in 2008, that the Illinois State Police reopened the case. In 2011, after years of delays and twists, Jack McCullough was arrested and convicted of Maria's murder. The prosecution's case rested largely on the identification of McCullough by Kathy from an old yearbook photo, as well as his shaky alibi. His conviction made history as the oldest cold case ever brought to trial in the United States. Finally, it seemed like Maria's family might get some closure. But the story didn't end there. In 2016, new evidence surfaced that would shatter everything. McCullough's legal team found records proving that he had called an Air Force recruitment station from a payphone in Rockford, Illinois, at the time of Maria's disappearance, which meant he could not have been in Sycamore to commit the crime. With this new evidence, the conviction was overturned, and McCullough was officially declared innocent in 2017. He walked free after spending nearly 5 years in prison for a crime he did not commit. Once heralded as a triumph of justice, the case of Maria Ridulph was now back to being an unsolved tragedy. To make things more convoluted, other potential suspects emerged, like William Henry Redmond, a carnival worker with a history of being near children who went missing, but he was never formally charged, and the evidence remained circumstantial. As of today, the case of Maria Ridulph remains unsolved, lingering as a haunting reminder of a lost childhood and the fragility of justice. The story has left behind a community still searching for answers, a family with a void that cannot be filled, and an innocent man who suffered for a crime he did not commit. What really happened to Maria Ridulph that snowy evening in 1957? Who was the mysterious Johnny, and why has justice been so elusive for over 6 decades? These are questions that may never be answered. For now, the case remains a chilling, tragic mystery, a tale of loss, a rush to judgment, and the complexities of truth.